Tony Chips here at Chiappetta Shoes. This is Workshop Live. Today we have an F20 foot type. This foot presents as a good medium arch. When she's sitting down, there's a good arch there. Now, when she's taking the step, everything is just collapsing in. Arch is falling down. It's odd. There's so much flexibility in this foot. Sometimes we get those. We get a real flexible situation where the foot might look like a medium. Typically, F20s are relatively super flat, super fixed. This is a very flexible F20 foot type. Now, when we're dealing with something like this, there's a lot of ways to approach a situation. We've had a set of orthotics, 2 sets of orthotics actually, for about 3 or 4 months now, and we have not been having luck. We have an old set from about 5 years ago that this customer went back to because they were kind of the most comfortable situation. The right side is happy in this F20 foot. The left side, she's having a significant amount of irritation on the 5th metatarsal bone itself and on the head, even around to the top of the foot. Typically with this much flexibility, that tells me that the foot is kind of over supinating or compensating in that way. But we've tried a few things out. My initial thought process was to kind of address the pronation. We've done 2 different iterations, and we're looking at the old version. We're going to take it to the top down. We'll have old, new, and new. So let's take it top down. All right, so in this picture here, this is the old set. We were addressing with a metatarsal bar, longitudinal arch bar, and a cuboid bar on the right side. On the new set, we tried this. This was the newest starting point. We had a traditional or anatomical met pad, scaphoid, and a medial wedge with a wrap. This felt like it was too much for this customer. So we ended up trying this about a month ago or so. She was not getting any relief, so she went back to the OGs. Now, if you look at these two, very flexible foot, F20 foot type, we're addressing pronation in the rear foot and midfoot. On the second try, we tried doing the longitudinal arch bar. That's a 3mm sponge rubber, and we kept the rear foot medial wedge. Still was not addressing the problem. So what we're going to do is we're going to wipe the slate clean, shave it all off, and then we're going to go with just focusing down the middle section of the foot. The good old 4th arch, as they say. So we're going to take this over to the grinder, get this cleaned up, and we've got a good starting point for the new pieces we're going to add to the equation. The right side, again, is in pretty good shape, but we're still going to match everything up nicely. So let's take it over to the grinder. All right, take it top down. So we're restarting, getting refreshed on these bad boys. Let's take them, clean them up real quick. Starting fresh. Now, instead of working on the medial pronation in both the rear foot and midfoot and the forefoot abduction, which we had on that lateral forefoot wedge there, we're just focusing down the middle section of the foot. And I recently had a post about how many different types of arches there are. And there are 4 arches: medial, lateral, longitudinal, transverse, metatarsal. And it's important to understand the mechanics of the foot, understanding how the body moves. An F20 foot type has a medium forefoot varus alignment and a medium rear foot valgus alignment. So toes are out, heel is in. A lot of mobility and twisting the midfoot, putting stress on the outside of the foot because the foot's splaying to the outside a lot. So because this is not a typical F20 with kind of a traditionally flat, fixed foot, this is a medium arch with a lot of mobility. Addressing the pronation has not proven good. It has not given us the result that we are looking for. So we're working down the middle section of the foot. And in doing so, the idea with what we're trying to accomplish here is we were trying to overcorrect, or we were trying to correct, which led to overcorrection. With Chiappetta Shoes' process, what we like to say is that we are an accommodative operation. We want to get you comfortable as quickly as possible, but also with the least amount of intervention. Our default is accommodation. I did not start that way in this situation. I started on a corrective model, and it has not helped out and has not worked. So we're going back to the basics, and we're getting you an accommodative solution. So with this process, we're going to work on the middle section of the foot. Now I'm going to try to do this in just one step. We've got old set here. Okay. Now, placement of the mets, crucial for effectiveness. Crucial. So we're going to start with the old one, because that's our model for the Met bar here. Yep. Okay. Now, just lined up. Yep. Wait. Okay. So we've got first new version, and the second one is over here. Now, to copy what we had before, you can go back and rewind. We had the longitudinal arch bar, the middle section. And that was on the thicker side and on the firmer side. We used a cork. Now, with the state that it was at about 4 millimeters fully compressed at this point. And those are about a couple of years old for that last modification. I'm going to start with a 1 inch wide by 2.5 inches long, 6 millimeter 1/4 inch multi-cork. And with that, we're going to cut it right into the Met pad. Okay? So here's what we're going to do. Like that. Now I'm going to overlay where I want it at. And stick it right there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to cut all these bad boys out. So it's just one step process. Just like that. Go. All right. Trying to be time efficient is very important for being a good pit orthist. Okay. That one. 2. All right. These out. Now, the one wiggle with the new setup here is that the set that was kind of working, it wasn't like solving the problem, but it felt the best. With that set, we had a lateral heel bar, or a lateral cuboid bar on the right side, and then we had a little medial post, kind of like a navicular post on that side. So one thing I'm going to hold off on and just see like how are we doing with everything. I'm making everything match up nicely. We've tried a couple of different iterations. We have some good feedback. We know what we're working with. So we're going to stick with this for the time being. You know, typically when we're dealing with foot pain, we want to get people comfortable. We want to get people happy. So when you're dealing with problems, we got to be sensitive. You know, people are dealing with pain and they don't have to and they don't want to, and sometimes even if it's a simple mechanical solution, it takes the body time to heal. It can take muscle memory a lot of time to readjust and feel more at home or more efficient with the new setup. All right, so we got our little Elvis here, and we got our met bar, or our longitudinal arch bars. Yep. Glue that down. Yep. Now, we're going to take this piece off. This is a prefab met bar. It's a pour-on met bar. It's a good material. It's nice, it's firm, it's bouncy. Does the job without feeling like a firm piece is underneath the met pad. A met bar is giving you more full coverage from the first to the fifth metatarsal. So you got that full coverage on the metatarsal pad. I've talked plenty about metatarsal pads, the different types, what they should be used for. This has worked for this customer in the past, so that's what we're going to now. And having this combo, we should be in good shape. You know, this customer's been dealing with pain. She just went and saw her doctor a couple weeks ago. They did an x-ray to make sure there was no fracture. There's not, thank God. So we are working as efficiently as possible. And you know, again, we don't charge for modifications. So when we make modifications, you know, I want to solve the problem, and I don't charge you because feet can be weird, feet can be tricky. Stuff like this, I could see 100 of the same feet and have 100 different solutions. I say it all the time. So, okay. So we got 2 out of the 3 pieces glued up. Okay. Now, last piece. Last piece, Ella. We have the lateral cuboid bar. And I like going at an angle like that. So we're going to go right off that arch bar. Right there. Kind of follows the anatomical aspect of the foot. Ella, do you need me to go on silent and talk?
Excuse me real quick. Be right back, folks.
All right, we're back, folks. So we are getting the glue put on. We got the cuboid bar all ready to go. we're glued up here, almost. And for the cuboid bar, I like to use a firm, thin material. Unless there's significant amount of supination, we typically can get away with a 55 or 65 durometer, eighth of an inch, 3 millimeter material. Whether it's cork or rubber or foam or whatever it is, you can typically get by with 3 millimeters for, you know, a decent amount of supination control. Now again, this person's in F20 foot type. A lot of pronation. Tony, why are you doing the cuboid bar? This person compensates a lot for her foot by rolling to the outside. And that's why I think she's getting a significant amount of repetitive trauma and irritation on that fifth metatarsal. So we're not working the foot in or out. We're not working on pronation or supination here. A little bit of supination, but it's mostly addressing the middle section of the foot to help that weight distribution go heel to toe more efficiently in the gait process. Okay. Last set. Okay, folks, we're at 22 minutes. I told this customer it'd take about 15 to 20 minutes. We're a little bit over. We're going to get this all put together. I'm going to take this to the Be Right Back screen, and I'm going to go talk to her, and I'll be right back. All right, we're back, folks. F20 foot type, a lot of mobility, but a medium arch. A lot of mobility. So we had some pieces. We've tried 3 different iterations. The oldie was the goodie. The oldie was an accommodative process. We went with too much correction. Too much correction in some cases is not a good thing. With all that extra mobility, I thought I was helping us out, but it was not the right case. And sometimes we gotta say that we're not right. So we are going back to the basics. We're accommodating. We're putting more pressure on the middle section of the foot just to help the foot go heel to toe. Not going to worry about that pronation quite as much. There is some supination that we are lightly addressing with a standard cuboid bar. All right. Start here. I gotta get it this all in the right spot. Gotta be a good spot. I like to get it nice and tight, fit that up really well. Second. Let's go. There. There. Now I'm going to heat up that cuboid bar a little bit more. So when you got to wrap, you got to make sure it sticks properly. And being a cork and nylon combination, the GMS cork's really nice for any kind of rounded edges or anything like that. Okay. 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. Let's clip this, give it a pound, get it on the grinder, get this custody going. Get some feet happy. Get a quick little review before we're done. All right. Take you over here to the grinder. Hey, do you mind if I get a minute? All right, folks, F20 foot type, 3 orthotics, 1 old, 2 new. Moral of the story, don't overcorrect. We had a lot of pronation, nice medium arch, but when she's taking a step, everything's flattening out. Now the knees and hips are good. I thought that working on pronation was gonna be a good thing, but it's not. So we're going back to an accommodative aspect, looking at more correction, but more working down the middle section of the foot, not addressing the pronation. And you know, sometimes when it comes to this stuff, it can be tricky. So that's what we're here for. Chiappetta Shoes, ain't no better than Chiappetta. Ciao.